So, okay, Milwaukee County in 2012 in the general election, we're talking the general election now between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. Milwaukee County had a 2-1 margin in favor of Barack Obama. Now this year, I think it is going to be a little closer, not because, because some of these suburban voters, due to the riots, are going to come and vote for Donald Trump, because one of his main advocates in the city is Sheriff Clark, who is first of all he's a black police officer, so he has a lot of people are willing to support him just because of what he symbolizes nationwide. He's a nationwide TV figure now. And then on the other hand, the Black Lives Matter movement and its and maybe like some of the comet tail that's associated with it, the people that maybe they're not affiliated with the movement, but they have similar ideas, and they may have like other iterations of the movement, but that group, they're not planning to go vote in very strong numbers. This state differs from Vermont and Oregon in that they have a major African American urban community there with Milwaukee, and it's going to be a problem for the Democrats to actually carry that city this time, or they're going to carry the city, but the margin and the turnout are going to be a huge issue because the riots exposed some sort of deep current of distrust between the system and the people of Milwaukee, the black people, and whether or not you think the shooting was justified, which apparently, if you look at the video, it was actually first of all, it was a black police officer shot a black armed suspect. It's been agreed upon. This was sort of one of those riots that people now agree should not have happened. It's just the passions of people are so inflamed that they came out and they rioted for the sake of conveying their anger at the system. But in reality, the case as it was not let's call it a riotable offense, because in the event they trashed their own community. It was a major embarrassment for the city, and the city itself has a Democratic mayor for decades and decades and decades. And who made political points on that? It was definitely not the Democratic Party, who have struggled. It actually caused a crisis for them. And it's going to cause a crisis. I think doesn't matter what the election, what side of the election comes out on, whether Hillary wins or Trump wins. They're going to have to explain why this city has been under Democratic administration for decades and decades. Apparently, it's been under Democratic or socialist, even literally socialist party administration since the first half of the 20th century. And it's one of the most racially segregated cities. It's also one of the black poverty rate is appalling there, and and we've seen these riots, and I don't think that it's going to reflect very well in the election, because these are the people that the Democrats need to come out and validate their program. And the fact is that if the program had been working, and if we'd had public trust in the system, and if we had people that are committed to the policies that it's been enacting, then that would not have happened at all. There would have been no riots in Milwaukee. There would have been trust between the police and the community there. And we see that that's not the case. We're seeing right now some sort of bizarre, I want to say, schism on the left beyond the Bernie Sanders issue, which I talked about, referring to Dane County and the other two states. But the black community does not trust either party, and rightfully so. I don't think I don't trust them either. So, there's a few that are going to vote for Donald Trump purely as a protest vote, or because of personal, preferences for him. He has a few great proposals for the black community, including supporting charter schools. Which, by the way, the black community, that nobody should have the illusion in their mind, are not against charter schools. The black community is mostly clamoring for charter schools, and yet the teachers unions which have been having their hands in the pot in Wisconsin and all these other states for decades, in Detroit especially, in the neighboring state of Michigan, and in states like New Jersey and New York. That's one of the reasons that these urban school districts are in complete disrepair. They're paying massive sums of money to teachers that are just not performing, and the standards for them to perform are just not there, and there's no merit-based pay. So the people there, they have all the conditions needed, but not the information to make a different choice. And I wouldn't say that the Republican Party would necessarily be the natural choice. They've done nothing to deserve the trust of anybody in the black community, because they simply haven't made a pitch to them. They haven't even tried for decades and decades and decades. I've seen Paul Ryan made a few feeble attempts. He was for a while appearing with this group of black clergy members, but to be honest with you, the one candidate, there's one candidate that did make a legitimate pitch. That was Rand Paul, my preferred candidate. That was a good start, but Donald Trump really made an effort that went above and beyond. And the Milwaukee riots were sort of the perfect frame for that, because he said, "What do you have to lose? I mean, your cities are falling apart, and you're having this civil strife under Barack Obama, supposedly the person that would have been the best representative for you, and it's not working. It's not working." So, in my opinion, Milwaukee will be one of those counties across the United States where the Democrats are actually in full panic mode now. They may be talking on CNN about polls and about moles in their organization or Russia, and they may be focusing on that, because the truth is, they don't want to be focused on the fact that they've been having to run some sort of disinformation campaign towards the black community. Paul Krugman wrote a stupid piece, one of the dumbest pieces in the New York Times I've ever seen, called "No Donald Trump, America's cities are not a hellhole," where he claimed that American cities are a picture of American success. And the voters in those cities are not gonna buy that crap. I live about a mile and a half from a city that's about to be repossessed basically by the city of Cleveland. It's called East Cleveland. The place is a hole, and the people there, they should be pissed off. I don't know if maybe they should be pissed off at themselves too, but the fact is that they have been lied to, they have been taken for fools, and their local officials are as much to blame as the national officials in the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party is to blame because they've never been an alternative. But they're not happy about this system. They're not happy about the way their city is being run, and I'm tired of having to hear this claim that the Democrats are representative of urban communities. This election, if it happens in the way that I'm seeing it turn out, we're going to see if this happens in Milwaukee, if this happens in Wayne County in Michigan, and voter fraud is being brought into it by the O'Keefe tapes, but voter fraud can only be done to a certain degree before somebody does get arrested. That's my feeling. I mean, I could be wrong about that too, but if they underperform in those cities to the degree that I think that they will, you're going to talk about not just a problem for the Democrats winning nationwide. You're going to talk about catastrophe. That will actually show that Donald Trump, not only did he increase the Republican support among white voters, he's sort of deflated the Democratic support among black voters, probably among Latino voters. And he's taken a few of them to his side too. A few of them. I'm not gonna give him too much credit. Some of them he doesn't deserve. There's people that they're not dumb enough to believe everything. But he did make a very good selling point. But so did Miss Stein, by the way. Dr. Stein, sorry. She is a doctor, by the way. I think Jill Stein. People talk about Gary Johnson. I think they're both going to have sort of impressive showings in this election, and I respect them to varying degrees, just because they're not scumbags. But I think this is going to be a year where the Democrats are going to realize that they've let a lot of their cattle free and left the fence open. And it's going to be hard to get them back when they realize that, oh, we have a choice here, and we're gonna be able to determine our own future. It's gonna be ugly on the local level too, when you have officials that should Hillary Clinton lose, or even if she wins and things do not improve, you're going to have either civil unrest or you're going to have electoral issues with the Democrats in these urban areas. So that's Wisconsin.